What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Cosmos. Um, just hoping this would be a happier intro, but I'm tired of trying to be optimistic the whole time. Episode 9. Andrew is back and outside. Little
Oh yeah.
twist on the usual setup. No Dari, but Mila's always here. So salute to Mila in the new kit. Yeah, we'll talk about another L because what's new, and then we will preview the next match in the title of the episode. I'm calling it Adapt or Die because that's how I'm feeling. So let's jump into it. Andrew, your thoughts on the match versus Austin?
Yeah, a really tough one. I was up on a roof during that game, kind of half watching it, but I mean, to go down to man relatively early, it's never a good way to start a game, especially not a road trip in Austin. I think Mila said it the last time I was on. Austin games are always funky, they're always wild, and I think we saw that today prove true again. Uh, yeah, Zonka, hard to tell what he was doing there. Just an awful touch, an awful way to recover, and weird way to kind of jump on him, around him, try to avoid him, try to make up for his mistake. But it was just bad play all around. In my article right before that game, I kind of touched on how Zonkas had a mixed start to life at the LA Galaxy. A couple of nice moments, a couple of good performances, but uh, a couple of blunders as well. You're starting almost to run out of fingers to count them. It hasn't been too great from him, and that was pretty much the worst moment. And now we don't have him for this next game coming up at home. When you're already down a couple of center backs, it's not great. But I really thought the Galaxy did well to play against to play after that. Not really. Yeah, it's just not a whole ton you could do. But they didn't seem out of it. It was another one of those games where it felt like they played well. They were in it, creating some chances. They did well to survive a couple of other ones. I think Garces had a good performance again, but I mean that it just really sucked to go down the way that we did. 80th minute, a little bit of an unlucky bounce. It's just, I mean, us shooting ourselves in the foot again, and just these unlucky situations. It feels like that nothing has really gone our way this year, and it's just a continuation of that. So, I mean, long story short, same old, same old. The Galaxy playing okay, playing well, maybe deserving a point or three, but they keep on shooting themselves in the foot. And I mean, credit to the opposition, they came at us all game as well. Lots of good chances from them. It felt like the goal was coming, and it did. So it's just a tough one to swallow. Not one that you like to see at all. But you got to try to forget about it, move on to that next game. But I mean, we've been saying that a lot. It's tough. It really feels tough at this point. Not a single win. It's you find yourself scratching your head, and I'm sure Vanny's doing a lot of that these days.
Yeah, it's a lot of head scratching and confusion and what's next, and I'm not exactly sure. Mila, I feel like you had a couple of good thoughts that we talked about on our text thread during the match.
I'm trying to remember them.
Um, I
Start
think it
with
was,
Peck.
yeah, that's where I was gonna say those were the ones that I remembered.
Peck had what? 7, 8 shots.
Yeah.
Normally, that's kind of what we want, but we do have other options in the team, and when they're not going our way, and he's taking those 8 shots, like you would hope one of them find the back of the net. So obviously, I don't know. You could see it too in his reactions to some of the misses. The one where it hit the post, where it looked like he was going to squeeze it in. You could see he was just like, like what do I have to do? What else more do I have to do to score? And I can feel for that, but at that point, like we need to find chances for the other people. So it's not so much being like Peck needs to be better. I think that form will come around, but like Payne still needs to get more chances, especially now that he's trying to find his way back in the side from injury. We need to find chances for Ramirez, but overall, I think we're forcing it down the throat with Peck, and he clearly needs to find some footing right now. And by us just forcing it that way every time, it's not going to help him get out of this rut.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think for us to play in a match and so only have one shot, then that's both on the system and on the player. I know he's coming back from injury, but I don't want him out there if he's just going to be a decoy to a certain extent. And he's set up Peck a couple times over the last few games. In good positions where Peck should be scoring. So there's a give and take to this. Like if we have an informed Peck, I think that a couple of these games where we haven't been getting the results probably swing in our favor.
Oh, I agree, but of
But
course they all have to pile up at one time. All the issues.
right. So we can't have anything go right. But I think that Paintsill is the person that has to get us out of this mess. And I know that's a lot for him to bear, but based off of his age and what we paid for him last year, it's kind of the one guy that I'm expecting at this point to pull us out of the mud. I still think that we're doing too much with trying to play between two minds. I thought we played a little bit off the back foot in this match, which suited the style a little more, but I still think we're playing too much with the ball. I feel like I gotta mention it because he came back and he was poor again. But that's Royce. What the title came to me because I was thinking about Royce, and I don't think Royce can play in games unless Ricky's back. I'm at a point where I don't think that he's got the work rate and the energy with or without the ball for him to be impactful if he doesn't have someone else that's in the side that can carry the ball for him. The talent is there, obviously, and the quality is there because he's Marco Royce. And like he's got he played a couple passes where I was like, oh, there's the Marco Royce that we paid for. But over the course of even 20 minutes, it's like he can't run. He really isn't getting into good spaces anymore. And in this league, like you'll get eaten alive if you're not being more physical. And I'm starting to lose the love for him because of that. And it's not his fault. It's just I don't think that he can play in this system with the needs that we currently have. And I'd much rather see some of the younger guys with the legs get those minutes right now. Because I mean, the goal comes from Royce stopping the press up top, and we essentially had him playing the false nine. And so he doesn't press. Yamane gets caught out upfield because that's what we were supposed to be doing in the press. He gets beat, the ball gets crossed in, and then it's 1-0. And that's the game. The margins are this fine. And I sent the tweet by Alex Ruiz, which I actually pulled up here, what John McCarthy was saying. But it's 2 or 3 moments in these games where we fuck ourselves throughout the season. I think that's a telling quote from McCarthy. And he's been really good over the last few games, but he knows it as well as everyone else. We don't have that killer mentality right now. And he, along with the guys that can get us back into a groove, need to do it as soon as possible. And I think it has to be this game, this one against Portland. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts about Royce or any of the stuff that I said, but if not,
no, I mean I definitely get what you're coming from with Royce. I do think a 30-minute cameo after being out for like 2 months is a lot to judge by.
Yeah, but like this cameo has been all of his cameos. You know what I mean?
We've seen some games at the end of last season where I understood the role and what he could bring to the team.
Right.
This season, it's special. We're in like a transitional period, so I definitely see where you're coming from with these things, but I do think there's definitely more that we can expect from him. And to just throw it all on him right now after his 30-minute appearance after being out with injury at 35 years old is a lot to me.
No, and I don't disagree that I'm not trying to put the blame on him. We didn't lose this game because of him. I'm just saying that he's one of the pieces that in the moments where it's not gelling anymore. And it's like I don't know.
We don't set up we I don't know. I feel like it's not even his fault to a certain extent. Like, why did we get him? Did we get him for 2 months? Literally just for 2 months? Because if we were gonna
Yeah.
win it and we're gonna blow up the midfield afterwards, then like what was the point? Because he can't play what we got him to play, the role that we wanted him to.
I think we
don't
got
have
him
the
as a
players
luxury
around him.
player for Ricky, right? Like we couldn't have anticipated Ricky tearing his ACL. I don't think the plan was ever for him to be like the successor for Ricky to go back to Europe either. Like I
Oh,
know that
no,
was
I don't
like
think
talk. That was like the
yeah.
talk when he first came in was like, oh,
Yeah.
like maybe Royce is going to be the supplement for when Ricky goes back. I don't think that was ever the case. I think he was the luxury player that in moments where you're dominating the ball but can't get the final product to go, you can put on a Royce and then he can change the game. But now when we are, I think I've been trying to say it's like we shouldn't be controlling the ball and we shouldn't have any. We should be playing off the back foot. That's just not Royce anymore, right? Like that's my
No, I
adapt.
agree, but I don't know if he's gonna come in for Ramirez at the false 9. Like what? I don't know. I just don't see his role in this team right
I don't
now
either.
with the current squad makeup. Like if we had more runners in the midfield and he could just kind of roam in the 10, then I think he'd be fantastic. He'd be fine.
It's a tricky domino effect that happens because you go like, oh, well, we'll play him in the false 9, but then why did we even sign Nascimento?
Exactly.
Right? It's such a.
He's still not getting any minutes right now. So like, as much as I want to see more out of Nascimento, like I can't even blame the guy for not being able to build anything of substance because he gets these 15-minute cameos.
He only got 7 this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, it'd be ludicrous to expect anything out of him. It's a weird rabbit hole in terms of the roster construction now that that has been kind of pigeonholed here. That I don't know if there's anything that the team can do unless they trade somebody. And that's a pretty drastic thing to do, directly after a season where you were champions. But you got to do something, right? You can't just sit pat because then the pressure is going to come on to everybody involved. And like, I've been kind of saving it, but like, I don't think this, and I'm not saying that he should be, but eventually there will be heads that roll, and Vanny's going to be the first one that's talked about because you can't get rid of players, but you can always get rid of a manager whenever you want. And that's the standard, right? Now, I'm not saying that I want Vandy gone because I know that he can do it at the highest level, but he's the first person out of all of these people that are currently in the system that's going to end up leaving. And I don't think the players want that either. But eventually there's enough pressure that will come where they're going to be like, well, we got to make a statement, right? Our fans are going to get on our back and eventually someone's got to go. You're not going to get rid of the GM that just won you a championship in his first season. You're going to get rid of the guy who's been tenured there the longest, and that's Vanny at this point.
That's interesting. We've already seen that, I feel like, on that Galaxy Twitter. There have already been that hashtag Vanny out popping up here and there. And I think Ricky Puig even reacted to one. Like he retweeted, quoted one, and he said, no, absolutely not, essentially.
Right.
So like the fact that we're already seeing that and that Ricky Puig is standing up behind his guy, I think it's a perfect example of exactly what you're saying, that people are going to start demanding more, but the members of the team who have worked with Vanny, who have grown under him, are going to defend him. And Ricky has already done that. What I think is really interesting that I've seen a lot of is people asking questions of Will Kuntz. We've talked a lot about Marco Royce today and what his function is in the team. And it seems like that maybe wasn't ever really clear, especially when you consider, like you mentioned, Mila, we blew up the midfield essentially to secure this impact our TAM or anything, but
Hold on.
The question of Greg Vanny versus Will Kuntz, or maybe both of them having egg on their face right now, it's difficult. But I mean, really, I think it just boils down to not having Ricky Puig. I mean, we've talked about Joseph Paintsil, Gabriel Peck not firing on all cylinders. It feels like everybody is kind of torn their ACL a little bit. Everybody's missing just that little bit extra. And, Ricky, with Puig back, Marco Royce, all of a sudden it makes a lot more sense. We're probably going to see more from Paintsil, from Pex. it's just really a difficult situation to be in. Uh, and I don't know if any firing, any moving the roster is going to change that. Other than we gotta up the remaining 6 months or whatever it is left until his return. It's just a really difficult spot to be in, and one that I don't think Galaxy fans are used to or are gonna be happy to revert back to after 2024. The 10 years before that, we were kind of used to struggling, suffering a little bit, having these mediocre teams that weren't really doing it. But now we lose him, and all of a sudden we have not one of the worst seasons so far of all time. It's just such a drastic fall from grace, and it really is a shame that it boils down to just one player. But I think that's the risk that you put yourself in when you design a team around one star player. And that's exactly what we did. We designed this roster around Ricky Puig. All of a sudden, we don't have him, and it's like a car without an engine. So it's really just, it's sad what we're seeing. It really is sad. And it's sad to see all of a sudden people turn on Greg Vanny, who got us that title, who broke so many records last season. So many people already starting to turn and question Will Kuntz with all the magic he did to turn that awful 2023 team into the 2024 team. All of a sudden, it's just the credit has, immediately evaporated. So, it's, you feel for everybody involved in the organization. It's just a really shady situation to see. And, all you can do really is pray that Ricky Puig somehow gets better quicker. That's really the only way I see out of this. But it does bring up a big question, because eventually the Ricky Puig era is going to end. Are we sure that we have the right people in the front office to maybe transition us out of that? One transfer window without Ricky Puig, it's pretty harsh to judge Will Kuntz by. I'm looking forward to the next transfer window, because I do think we'll still probably be without Ricky by that point. So Kuntz will have to, show a little bit more. What can he do to sort of plug in that hole, fill it in? Yeah, that era is going to end eventually. And I'm already thinking 2-3 years on from now, Puig does eventually return to Europe, whatever it may be. But how do we move on from that? And so far, the signs haven't been pretty positive. So lots of really interesting questions. But at the end of the day, for this season, it just boils down to we got to wait it out, And it's that question I feel like we all had at the beginning of the season. Can we make playoffs? Can we actually achieve anything without Ricky Puig? So far, it's looking like a no, as much as I hate to say it. But
Can we win a game without Ricky?
Yeah,
right.
we have 3 points.
I think that like how important he is to our team is evidently clear now, and this is not good. It's not a situation like any team should be in, where you have 11 guys on the pitch and all of it falls apart just because one guy's gone. Obviously, we did lose some guys in the new season, but I'm not so sure that they would have helped that much if Ricky was still out, and we kept those guys. So, yeah, like you were saying, it's looking grim, but we need to find a way to not only build with him in the squad, but build for when he's gone afterwards.
Yeah. Pressure makes diamonds, but it also creates rubble. It's kind of where we're at. The pressure's never been higher. Look, there's got to be some adaptation here that can get this team to start winning games. Because even without Ricky, this is still a good team on paper.
Mhm.
And I think that this is a good segue into the Portland game, because ever since we've played Portland's gone on a freaking ridiculous run of form here, switching to a 4-back from their original 3-back, and has seen a bunch of success. So if a team like Portland can get over this, this hump, then I think this Galaxy team can do it too. So I do want to kind of riff off our Band-Aid here, go a little more optimistic, and then let's see and let's envision how this Galaxy team can win this weekend and maybe get on a roll here, because I think the next 3 games are going to be kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back, or the point in our season where we really turn. Because this team's got fight, but I just don't know if they've got the goods. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's look at Portland first, and then we'll gear ourselves towards the Galaxy and what the Galaxy can do to get better. But I'll throw out Portland's most used 11 here. They've gone, like I said, to this 4-2-3-1, pretty box standard stuff here. Miller is their rock in the back. He's been good for multiple different MLS teams, but no different here for Portland. They've got a super dynamic young front three there with Moreno, DaCosta, and Anthony, who have all been in great form of recent. And then they've got a bagsman in Mora. So dangerous. A team where, early in the season we were saying they kind of sucked. Little did we know they were just playing the best team in the MLS in the early stages. But this team got a result against them early in the season. I don't see why we can't do it again. Hopefully at home we can pick up all 3 points. But they pose some challenges specific to our Galaxy side that I think are worth noting. Do you guys have any? Do you guys want to talk about their squad at all, or do you kind of just want to say who their kind of key player is, the guy that you're watching for them, and then we can talk about Galaxy?
Yeah, I think you mentioned him, but DaCosta really has looked special to me in that middle role. I think the word you used was dynamic, and that's it. He's just a threat always, and he's got a really good surrounding cast. So, like you mentioned, this is a dangerous team now. They've been firing on all cylinders, and they're going to be looking to continue doing that. Getting a point away. You sort of righting that wrong in that game against Portland. They might feel that we sort of robbed them. A late goal from Amir is there to earn that point. They're going to want all three. So, you can expect that from them. So, again, it's not exactly positive signs for the Galaxy. But, realistically, every team is going to be looking to score a couple past us. We're looking like an empty nest. Like, we're vulnerable for the taking. Other teams know that. So, I'm not even looking forward to the game against Kansas City. I think they're going to want to, look for some results against us. But we've always been a team with a target on our back, even before the cup. Now we have a cup and we're in, our struggle era. So they're going to be looking to, take some damage, capitalize on, this downfall of the Galaxy. And they got to do it.
Absolutely. DaCosta is my star man for them too. Outside of the performance against us, where he came on as a sub, he's been their best player, and he's the Evander successor, right? So they have to be expecting him to be a hit as good as Evander, who was an MVP candidate last year. I'm a big fan of him, and that, like I said, they're dynamic, and Neville's got them playing in the right way for this team now. I thought that the 3-back really didn't fit their personnel and their style, and now that they're playing kind of just a more box standard formation to the modern game, it's looked a lot better for them. Don't really know I don't even know who the neutralizer is for DaCosta. I don't think we have anybody on any type of form that can kind of stop him, especially now that we're down 2 center backs and it's Zavaleta, and he deserves credit for the game against Austin because I actually thought he was pretty good. But the idea of Zavaleta having this guy, roaming and being near him is very scary to me. But yeah, Mila, do you have any thoughts on Portland?
I don't watch enough Portland to have anything on them.
Fair
but
enough.
I do think we're just gonna have to plug up the midfield.
Is this the game sit Fagundes?
And just who are you gonna play over Fagundes though?
I don't know. Sanabria, Winder. I that's kind of the only thing that I've got left at this point in terms of a change that we can make, looking at this roster that we've got in front of us. I'm okay with playing off of the back foot, and I think Parente and Cerrillo have the capabilities in terms of playing long balls to get Peck and Paintsel in behind. I think that you got to muck it up and you got to make it difficult for them to beat you going forward. And I think that starts by And it's not Fagundez's fault because he's played better recent, but I think that you gotta be more physical than the other team in the midfield. This particularly this front 3 or 4 that they've got plus Chara, like you got to be better than them. And I think Sanabria's legs, along with Sorillo and Parente, can maybe give us the upper hand there. And I think you gotta lean into your stars being stars. Like Peck, if he gets that chance that he had it against Austin, he's got to bury it, right?
No, definitely.
That's how I see it. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts.
I still think we need more bodies in the midfield, though. I don't even know.
You mean like inverting like
Yama, Yamane probably will invert to put more bodies in there, but then I could still see us being overrun. If we want to make it hectic, then we have to throw more bodies in that midfield area.
Yeah. I don't know if the Galaxy is, rough them up type of team. I don't think we've ever been that way, especially not under Vanny. We've always been, possession first, play our game, play some beautiful football, and get the results off of that. This team, I don't think, is used to using their bodies a little bit more, being off of the ball, sitting back. It's just not how we play. So I agree with you, Dylan. I think that is the way to go about a lot of these games. When you're out your star player, you got to, use the other elements of the game. You don't have some brilliant little magician who's going to pull something out of his hat. So you got to use your own body, your own legs. You have big guys like Ramirez, who I think is experienced in that. He knows how to do that, but he's not in our midfield. He's not necessarily going to help break down Portland too much. Even Sanabria, I think, is probably the next best candidate, someone who can do that in our midfield, but he hasn't looked too impressive so far. Again, he's also recently just come back from a long injury, but even at the beginning of the season, you can give him some grace. He was just getting into this team, but seemed to be a little bit off the pace, just not quite accustomed to maybe the speed, the physicality of MLS. And so to ask him to be physical, to use that, I don't think he's just up to the snuff yet. I think he's going to get there. But I feel like this season we've signed a lot of players who are project players who might be better next season, 2026, the season after. You think of Elijah Winder, another big body who's really a powerful player, someone fast, quick, who knows how to use his legs. But again, someone who needs probably a season to get acclimated, and maybe a little bit more than a season, seeing how he hasn't been getting so many minutes. So I agree. I think we need to be more physical, but the Galaxy they don't have that chip. They're not programmed that way. They're programmed to keep the ball, move it around, and dismantle teams that way. But again, you don't have someone who's going to really unlock the key. So you're in a rock and a hard place. You know one thing, but it's not going to get you so far. And other teams know that. And it feels almost like this team knows that. They play okay. They do know how to move the ball, but without someone who's going to spark something, you end up playing yourselves into mistakes, which is what we've done a lot of. And yeah, again, it's just a really difficult situation. You need Ricky Pooch back, or you need to totally drastically change this team's makeup. And that's just not going to happen, at the drop of a hat. So difficult. It's difficult. It's hard to say much more than that, but yeah, I mean, we know what this team needs, but I think we need some time until we start seeing that come to fruition.
Yeah, it's a weird race against the clock while also needing more time, right? Because like I said, the next 3 games are important because that essentially puts you at the third of the year mark.
Yeah,
right in the league, and we're probably not getting Ricky back until after Leagues Cup, so that's probably a little over
August.
half. Yeah, like we gotta find solutions. 4 months. And they posted those pictures of him today like I wasn't going to get excited. Like, that was fucked up.
They want you to get excited.
Yeah, for him not to be around for another 4 months because they know what they're doing. Smart marketing and social media persons involved there. It's hard to be optimistic anymore in regards to the team. I think it's a tough part, and there's no like talking about different players or waiting for the next guy to come back. Because everybody's come back and
everyone's basically back. Oh God. Hopefully Yoshida coming back goes.
talking about
I don't even know anymore. We just have to hope for a win.
Mhm.
And 3 points is all we need. Turn the season around. It takes one game to turn the season around.
It takes one game.
But we have yet to find that game, and every time we do look like we're making those steps forward, we have a game like the last one where I don't think we took any steps forward. If anything, we took some steps back. So, but that's the game. So,
the story of the season: 2 steps forward, 8 steps back.
Correct.
Yeah. Like fuck's sake. Okay. Well, we might as well just do a star player and prediction and all just lie to ourselves by picking us to win when I know we're all not thinking that. So, Andrew, you can start it, and then Mila can go next, and I'll finish it off.
Yeah. Star player. I want to see Christian Ramirez get another goal against Portland. I'd be interested to see if Zonka starts. I believe he's available again. He probably will. It seems like that's the pecking order, but you'd love to see him come back with a little bit of a vengeance, put in another brilliant ball over the top, and let Christian, do his thing, let him finish. I'd love to see them recreate that. I'm gonna put Christian Ramirez, as my star player. Again, I'm a big fan of him, just his mentality. He's looked like one of our brightest sparks, I think, this year so far. But I don't think that's a surprise for anyone that's followed his career. This is what he does. And so we just need to help support him, get him more balls, get Yoshida making Yamane making some more crosses, or someone. It's crazy. Like, we're talking about Zonka, Yamane, these defenders contributing, so much in the attack, but that's where we are. So I'm just going to finish it at that. Ramirez, my star player. Prediction. I think life is funny this way. We're going to get surprised as soon as we've kind of accepted that this is a losing team, is the game that we're going to win. I want to say 1-0. I don't expect too much, but I do think Garces is probably going to be our neutralizer. We're going to rely on his pace a lot to go ahead and stop things down. I feel like I'm still yet to see him lose like a one-on-one. It's very rare if he has, but I think Garces is going to be big. We're going to have to defend for our lives against a really good attacking team. But I feel like we've done that. It's just we need to do it for 90-plus minutes. So I think a 1-0 Christian Ramirez goal, probably late again for some drama. But, that's what I got.
Cool. Mila.
I'll go 1-0 also. Garces, man of the match. Hopefully just a passion goal.
Nice.
And some passion in the defense to keep us at the clean sheet. I thought he was pretty good last week. I think the defense as a whole was just sitting back and taking a lot of pressure, but that energy hopefully can get us something on the other end.
My turn. I'm pretty sure that Mickey Yamane is the only player who played last game that has an assist this season.
That might be right.
I think
in
MLS, I think he is the only player that has an assist this season. So he's my star player on the back of that stat.
That's
woof.
great.
Yeah. So our best creator is our right back.
We've been knew that though.
So with that in mind, I think that we win 2-1.
5-3.
Good old fashioned 6-4. Yeah, 2-1. I don't think that we keep a clean sheet. Until they prove that they can do it, I'm not going to predict it. But I like that you guys think 1-0 because that would be the proper way to get out of a rut is to win a game at home 1-0 on like a smash and grab.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
I'm tired of being tired.
I'm tired, man. This team is taking my soul. Start a podcast and never win again. You know, it's messed up. It's bad. That's bad PR, and it's gonna. Someone's gonna blame us eventually when we make it into the Galaxy podcast verse. Someone's gonna go. You know those guys. Ever since they started podcasting.
No, it would only count it. It would have counted if we won the week we took off.
That would have been very funny.
But they didn't. They didn't win anything. So
fair enough. All right, Andrew, you wanna plug your stuff and then we can get out of here?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Los Angeles Sports Nation is where you can find our coverage. I've been in a little bit of a break, but I should have something, if not tonight, out tomorrow. Promise to get back on that. But you can also find us on Twitter, as you see on the screen, NGF Andrew. We're on Instagram at Nuestra Galaxia Futbolera. You can catch coverage of the Galaxy, Orange County SC, everything so-called soccer we try to talk about on there. So, give us a listen and let's suffer together.
Hell yeah. Well, go follow Andrew on everything. He does great work. From the three of us, and Dari, we miss you. This has been Clash of Cosmos, episode 9, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Ballet, I'm the champion. They're going to go alone. Still back. What a goal. It's 6. They just cannot stop scoring. The volley from Bono. Yes. San Jose carved open with a world-class pass from Ricky Pooch. Glittering Galaxy, and Landon Donovan is the match winner.